Hello, sixth graders. Today we're going to be working with what's my rule. So it's a little bit more algebra, and we're going to be kind of plugging in to different tables as we solve. So to get things started here, let's take a look at our first problem. It says, here's the rule. We're going to subtract the in number from 11 and a half. So everything in the in columns, we have a column, two columns here. Everything from the in column, we're going to be subtracting 11 and a half from it. So we're going to have 11. So first of all, in is 1. So we're going to say 11 and a half minus 1. What do we get for an answer? Well, if we take 1 away from 11 and a half, we get 10 and a half. See this rule here, 11 and a half minus n. So the next one is 2. So if we take 11 and a half minus 2, what are we going to get? We're going to get 9 and a half. How about 8 and a half? 11 and a half minus 8 and a half. We're going to get 3 for an answer. We take 11 and a half minus 8 and a half. Now here is our next problem. We know the 5. We have to work backwards now. And in this terms, we can simply just go, we can take this 5, since we're subtracting, we go 11 and a half minus 5. Well, 11 minus 5 would be 6, and we still have the half left over. The last one gets a little trickier because we have 12, and 12 is bigger. So I'm going to change the color here. We're going to go 11 and a half minus 12. Well, we have a smaller number taken away from a bigger number, so that means we have to have a negative number. How close is 11 and a half to 12? It is negative half away. That's how we would solve the first one. I really want you to, while we're working through this, I want you to pause and I want you to follow along with your study link so you can kind of solve these problems as we go and you kind of understand what we're doing in them. Okay? Let's take a look at this next problem here. The formula is R equals 4 times S. So the R itself is this column. So any number in this column is our R, and the S is on the left. So for example, we're going to go, for this problem here, we're going to go 4 times 12 equals the R. Well, the R 4 times 12 equals 48. If you don't believe me, let's take a look here. 2 times 4 is 8. 4 times 1 is 4 equals 48. Now, the in, we don't know, but we know the out. So let's look closely here. So we have to find out 4 times what number equals 24. Well, if we know the 24, but we don't know what it is, we have to work backwards. So we have to divide. Do you see how that works a little bit? So we're going to do 24 divided by 4, which equals 6 for an answer. Let's do another one of these. We know the in, so the S is 0.3. The rule is R equals 4 times S. So we're going to do 4 times 0.3. Well, let's work that out. 4 times 3 is 12. We have one spot after the decimal, so the decimal goes right there. So the answer is 1.2. Okay. Let's look at the following problem here. We don't know the S, so we're going to go 4 times blank equals 1. Well, just like this problem earlier where we did 4 times blank equals 24, we're going to do 24 divided by 4. So this next problem here, we are going to have to divide 1 by 4. So we're going to go 1, and we're going to divide it by 4. A little bit of long division here. How many times can 4 go into 1? It goes in there 0 times. 4 times 0 is 0. I'm going to subtract to bring down the 1. To bring a 0 down, how many times can 4 go into 10? 4 goes into 10 2 times. 4 times 8. 4 times 2 is 8. Subtract. Better give myself some more space here. I got a 2 here. I'm going to bring down a 0. How many times can 4 go into 20? 4 can go into 20 5 times. 4 times 5 is 20. Subtract, it's over. So is the answer 25? It's not 25 because the decimal is right here after the 1. Move the decimal up, it's 0.25. Now you're probably wondering, how is it 0.25? Well, you think about it, if I have $1 and if I divide it amongst 4 people, That would be 25 cents. The last one here, S is half. The rule is R times 4 times S. So we'll go 4 times, and let's change half into 0.5 equals our problem. So what's 4 times 0.5? Well, 4 times 5 is 20. We have to move the decimal one spot, so it's 2.0. 2.0 is how we would solve that rule. Let's move on to the next problem. Ooh, this one looks like a lot of fun. So we have 3x plus negative 6. Now, how will we do this? We're going to triple the in number and then add negative 6. Let's see what they did for the first one. So the in is 1. So what they did here is when you have an x right next to a number, that means to multiply. If we have a t right next to a number, it means to multiply. So we're going to do 3 times 1 plus a negative 6. Okay? So if we were to do that, what's 3 times 1? It's 3. 3 plus a negative 6, I would take 3 positives away from the negative 6. So that means my answer would be a negative 3. I'll show that again because this is new material for you. If I have 3 positives, and if I have 6 negatives, 4, 5, 6, the positives cancel out the negatives. It means I'm left with 3 negatives. My answer is negative 3. Let's try and solve the next problem. Okay. My x is a 2, so this first one I'm going to go 3 times 2 plus a negative 6. Well, how am I going to solve that problem? Let's take a look. I would do 3 times 2, so I'd get 6. So I'd have 6 positives plus 6 negatives. The 6 positives, I'll draw a little picture again. So I have 6 positives. We're going to cross off the 6 negatives. They cancel each other out, which means I'm left with 0 for an answer. 0 is my answer. This next problem is really fun. I want you to see if you can solve this next problem. So I want you to press pause right now, and then you're going to kind of watch me work this one out. Okay? So this next problem works. We don't know the x. So we're going to do 3 times a number. We don't know what it is. But when we add a negative 6 to it, the answer is a 15. Okay? Well, this is what I do know. Is this number right here that I'm solving has to be a number that is 6 bigger than this problem. So whatever this number equals has to be 6 bigger than 15. So what's 6 bigger than 15? 15 plus 6 equals 21. So 3 times what number equals 21? 3 times 7. Let's see if it works out. 3 times 7 is 21 pluses, right? Then we have negative 6. If I take 6 negatives away from here, I'm left with 15, which is my answer. So my answer is 7 here. Let's do this next problem here. We have 3 times 8 plus a negative 6 equals what number? Well, 3 times 8 is 24. I'm going to add a negative 6 to it. So that means I'm going to take 6 away from the 24, which leaves me with 18. Here's our next problem. We don't know what the x is. So 3 times a number we don't know plus negative 6 equals 0. So once again, we have to think, what number is 6 higher than 0, just like we worked out over here on this problem. So what number is 6? So we're going to add 6 to this. We get 6. Obviously, 6 plus 0 is 6. So 3 times what equals 6? 3 times 2 equals 6. So let's see if that works in this problem here. So we have a 2 here. 3 times 2 is 6. 6 plus a negative 6 equals 0. Perfect. That is your answer for that one. 3 times 2 is 6 plus a negative 6 equals 0. Let's move on to the next problem. Okay. For the table below, write the rule in words. So you have to figure out how does the in get to the out. This is what I'm looking at here. In is B, out is D. The in is 1.5. The out is 0.5. Okay. The in is 6 3/4. The out is 2 1/4. Okay. The in is 24. The out is 8. Another one is the in is 81. The out is 27. Another one is the in is 9.75. The out is 3.25. So we want to try and figure out how does the in get to the out, or how does the out get to the in? That is the problem solving. So this is what I do on these kind of problems. Let's take a look at the easier ones. We know 24 and 8. That's an easier one. 1.5 and 0.5 are some easier ones. And let's also take a look at the 81 and the 27. With that being said, how does this work? Well, how about the 24 and the 8? If I were to divide 24 by 3, I would get 8. So I'm just going to write divided by 3 by that problem. Let's see if that rule works for a couple other ones. 1.5 divided by 3 equals 0.5. Right? If we took 1.5 and I take it into 3 groups, that'd be 0.5, 0.5, 0.5 equals 1.5. Let's see what 27 times 3 equals. If 27 times 3 equals 81, then that will be our rule. 7 times 3 is 21. 3 times 2 is 6 plus 2 is 8, is 81. So it's divided by 3. So our rule is B, that's this column, divided by 3 equals D. So our formula would look like, or I guess that would be my formula. B divided by 3 equals D. My rule is we have to divide the in number by 3. Divide the in by 3. There's my rule. Let's move on to the next problem. So we have to make up our own. Well, let's try and make up one here. So let's just divide by, let's say we're just dividing by 5. So we're going to divide in by 5 to reach. So x divided by 5 equals y. So if we have a 10 here, out would be a 2. If we have a 40 here, out would be a 8. If we have a 35 here, out would be a 7. What if we have a 3 here for y? Then I have to work backwards. 3 times 5 would be 15. Now does that work? 15 divided by 5. And the last one, let's have a 9 here. This means a 45 would be there. Last one, we'll do some practice here. 3 plus negative 6 equals what? Well, if I have 3 positives, and if I have 6 negatives, 5, 6, these cancel each other, cancel each other, cancel each other. I'm left with negative 3. Next problem. Negative 17 plus 5. I'm not going to make all the negative 17s, but you'll understand with the plus 5, I'm going to take away these 5. I'm going to take away 5 from here, so I'm left with negative 12. Negative 12 is my answer. Ooh, this one's fun. 8 plus negative 2 plus negative 9. So I'm going to add 8 plus negative 2 and negative 9 would be negative 11. I have more negatives than positives, so I'm going to get rid of these 8. I'm going to take 8 away from here, so I'm left with negative 3. Hopefully these rules help you out today, and it will help you out in your math lesson as well. What's my rules? Just watch really close. What are you doing with the in and the out? Good luck with math today.